Hi guys, it's me, Samantha from SStwins, and today I will be doing the How Small Can You Draw Art Challenge, suggested by my friend Allie. As you can see, I have 10 pieces of watercolor, each one is half as small as the last. Getting down to a very tiny size. I didn't measure them, but they're small. The first one is half the size of a normal piece of watercolor, so big. I normally don't draw this big at all. So the character that I chose to draw is my OC Ashley, because I figured she would be easy to draw because I know how to draw her. This drawing is sped up drastically, but it took me 45 minutes to do the first drawing, and I was like, thanks for nothing, because it may have even taken me more than 45 minutes. I usually draw much smaller than this, so this was hard for me. This was almost harder than drawing the really small ones. And I decided to do watercolors, because I like watercolors, and I figured these watercolor pens, eventually they have a nice fine point that I figured would be beneficial for these small ones. But for the big ones, it took quite some time to color. Let's be real, this coloring process took like as long as the drawing process. This is just huge, it's massive. Honestly, I could have sped this up even more because it was so long, but I think it's important to see the initial drawing and the things that I attempted to do, like in the eyes. I have on the top it's a little darker than on the bottom, and then as you see here I go in, I did a striking red background, and then I use the same red to apply a little bit of blush on her cheeks and on the tips of her shoulders, and so I figured that kind of provides a distinctive look that I come to rely on in the smaller images. That is a huge drawing. Now we're getting down to a much more comfortable size. Since I'm using a really fancy camera, thank goodness I used a high quality camera for this, because otherwise it would have been impossible for you guys to see anything, especially as it gets smaller. But this size, the second, third, and I think maybe even the fourth, are much more of a comfortable size for me in terms of drawing. They're the size that I would more typically draw on, especially for watercolors, so it was much easier. But this one still took me forever, and also I felt like there wasn't enough of a difference between the second, third, and fourth ones to make it beneficial to my time, which took me hours. It's like, it's just the same thing again and again, and I didn't start seeing noticeably small differences till like at least the fifth one. You can definitely see that as the images get smaller, it takes a lot less time to do them, because it's already like starting to go on like halfway through this video and I've only done like 2. Thanks to Allie for making me do this. I hate redoing things, and so having to draw the same picture over and over again, it got exciting at the end. But at the beginning I was like, I'm just gonna have several copies of the same looking picture. I hope this is at least therapeutic to watch. I also opted to use the zoom in each time, so it kind of always makes them seem like they're like reasonably big, but just use my hands for like a size reference. That lovely definition on the top of the eyes. And now, a little more than halfway through this video, we move on. The camera died, and now I have actually moved into a different location on a different day. So that's why that one you don't get to quite see the finished effect, but trust me, basically looks like the first one. Now this size, the third size, is a very comfortable drawing size for me. I enjoy it. It's small enough that way it goes quickly, but large enough that way when it's done, it looks good and decent. So definitely the size I think that is the closest to my typically preferred size. So you can see I got a whole new piece of paper over there to do my little watercolory things on. While that first one took me 45 minutes, just know that all of the next, like, 7 took me 45 minutes, so take from that what you will. And here we go. This is where things started getting a little bit small. Not small enough to the point where it was unbearable, but you can definitely see that my hands look much larger. Also, a few details are sort of skewed a little. And it took much less time to draw in ink. Woof! And now it is quite small. All of a sudden, it's like the difference arrived drastically, and I gave up on using pencil because I figured I didn't even need to since it was so small. Especially since I'd drawn it a few times. I was like, oh, I got this. I know what I'm doing. Don't need a pencil for this one, which is also why I drew something that was kind of easy for me because I knew this was gonna happen. We are just breezing through these. And that is the maximum that my camera would zoom in. So from here on in, you can really see as they get smaller and smaller. I wouldn't call this unbearable, but definitely more challenging, especially to hold it in place. You can see my little finger sneaking up there to hold it down because I didn't have any tape with me. And I could not zoom in, so this is as good of a view as you get. But just flying through it. Didn't take any time to draw these. I should draw all my pictures this small. Here is where things got too tiny for me to even really use the water brush. So I just went in directly, and then I would kind of brush over it and then lighten it with a tissue or a paper towel, so that way it wouldn't look ridiculously dark in comparison to everything else. 2 more! You gotta start squinting to see this one. Can you believe there's 1 more to go? How did it get so small? When did this happen? Also, I thought that one looked a little big. So I take a moment and I cut it smaller because I like a challenge. Oh, little cute small girl! But I did it. And then here is a pan over all of them. So that you can compare. You can definitely see when the colors start getting more saturated as I had to actually use them. So it's really wobbly because I was like, I gotta zoom in and out. And so there's a pan of the final 5, which combined did not take me very long to draw at all. And then I kind of zoom out so that we can see everything and my feet. Boop, boop, boop. The difference between the first one and the last one is very drastic. Like, I could fit this last one inside of the eye of the first one and still have room to spare. This was actually really fun for me to do, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Allie, thank you so much for suggesting it. It was a really delightful challenge. At the beginning, I was like, I hate this, but then by the end, it was so fun, and she turned out so cute in the really small ones. So it was just a real delight, and now I have 10 wonderful images that I can enjoy. So if you like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.